Psychedelic here, hitting you back up this Friday with a new video. Got 5 new additions to the collection, and one of these I'm really stoked about at least. I kind of hinted towards it in my last video. And thank you for all the good responses to the last one. Wasn't really expecting that much reception from the comment section. It's nice to hear from a bunch of new people and some old subscribers that I'm still subscribed to, but just like I said, I'm just not much for commenting. I do watch a lot of videos, or enough videos, because I have kind of like my own circle, that we all watch, but I'm just not much for commenting, but I do like to reply back when I have the time and feel like it. So I do read the comments, and it's much appreciated. And I read all emails as well. I have at least one viewer who isn't a subscriber, I don't think, but he watches my channel, and I got your email, and very appreciated, man. So thank you for sticking around and catching my updates and what I got to share. So here we go. I think, yeah, these are all online purchases, because can't go anywhere at the moment. But this first one, we're gonna start out with the bangers, I guess you could say. Well, it's the one I got in first, so I guess it doesn't really matter which order I share them. But this is the one I've been kind of most anticipating for when I was gonna get it in the mail. This is a copy. This is an album that I first discovered, kind of branching out of the whole Black Sabbath and Blue Cheer kind of sounds, and try to, kind of get into more underground stuff. And there's so many titles out there. I can't think of the particular ones I was listening to, but I do know for sure this wasn't a mix. I was checking out different origins of heavy psych and hard rock sounds from not just the U.S., but different countries. And I remember I kind of discovered this around the same time I discovered Agua Turbia, because they're from the same continent, and not the same country, but the same continent. And this is the original pressing that I took a chance on online. And if you guys saw it on eBay, if you were watching this, because there were like 30 people watching this, and I was the one that got it. Super stoked to own this, even though there is a few flaws, but I'll talk about it. This is an original Peruvian pressing of Pax, and the album title is May God and Your Will Land You and Your Soul Miles Away from Evil. Covers, could have been a lot worse shape than one would think, but so they're based out of Peru, and I did pay up for this, but certainly not for how much it is kind of going for, or how scarce this is. Got a gatefold cover. And for you heavy psych, hard rock lovers, probably know about this album. Kind of got goofy animation on it. Anyways, this is on the Sono Radio label, which I think was a pretty big label in South America. And man, I just can't believe I had this. I mean, I was so shocked when I received this in the mail, because the seller didn't list it when he was shipping it. And that's one of those pet peeves I have when sellers don't put down the tracking number, or they just don't let you know they shipped it. And this was one of those cases, so I was kind of worried about not getting this, but here it is at last. So this came out so the years are kind of mixed on this. There's two sources that say 1970 and 72. Not just two sources, but the places I've looked at. And it's hard to pinpoint it, but it's around that date. And I'll show the record here. So the flaws I'm talking about. So when he listed this, he said that the first tracks on both sides have a little bit of needle issues. Whoever had this, or whoever owned this at first, you can kind of see it there. It's left some deep grooves in the wax there on the first track. It's unfortunate. It doesn't play very well. But the rest of the record, however, it is kind of a low fidelity pressing in the first place. Um, based out of the country as pressed in. But so yeah, some parts of it are kind of unlistenable, unfortunately. But it's not the case for the whole album. Plays pretty excellent, I would say. VG, but also G plus in spots. But the music does overpower most of it, which is a good thing. And so um, I'm really not ashamed of picking this up yet. I think I still got hell of a deal, and this has got to be the only copy in Nebraska, I would think. And you just don't see these things around here, and here it is in a small town, where I live. So, anyways, PAX. So there are kind of some resemblances to like Black Sabbath in spots. Definitely hear War Pigs and A Storyless Junkie, the first track. But I also like Green Paper, and that's in parentheses toilet. It's kind of got this kind of UK pop site kind of feel to it, which is kind of nice. The harmonies really shine in that track. And then I go back to some heavier cuts like Sitting on My Head, which I just learned on guitar. And then Pigpen Boogie, which kind of resembles UFO in spots, early UFO. And then it ends with a song called Shake Your Ass, which is like a kind of like a novelty, just kind of filler track. Too bad it wasn't the hard rock track called that, but yeah. So I could go on and on about this, but yeah, kind of overkill on here. But I'm just really stoked to have this, and even with a few flaws, it's still very nice piece to own, and at least I would say 90% of it plays very well. So that is a very good thing. Then let's see, we got kind of another really unknown record that nobody ever talks about. It's on a major label, and this is one I've seen online. The cover definitely stood out to me because it's just so odd. But when I revisited this online, I was like, wow, this is surprisingly high quality psych production going on, and for a major label one-off, this is just the stuff I'm looking for. So this is Curfew, Let There Be Dark, and There Was Dark. Got a little bit of ringware, but I tried forever just finding out what's going on this cover, and it took me forever to realize that's a light bulb. He's pulling the chain. For the longest time, I thought it was like a bathtub plug or something. I don't know. Anyways, Curfew. So this is believed to be like a studio session project. It definitely comes off like that. Really can't find any members that play on this or any info about them at all. They did release a single off here, Photogenic Jenny, which opens the album, and it's a big highlight off here. The first three tracks are my favorite. Wait for the Moment, which is the B-side to Photogenic Jenny, and Everyday Kind of Love. It's probably my favorite track off here. Kind of like a psych pop kind of movement. Kind of reminds me of Starshine era of Strawberry Alarm Clock a little bit. But there's also like a couple bubblegum cuts off here, a couple bluesy moments, but not too distracting, of course. But there's a lot of like cover songs and just a bunch of various artists that wrote these songs for him, like Ode to Billy Joel, which is a Bobby Gentry song. There's like let's see, like a Miles Davis kind of cover, Summertime, and Barry Goldberg, who's like session musician with Harvey Mandel. Is that right? So yeah, Curfew. This came out in 1970, and it's on United Artists label. Kind of fits in that same vein as like Omnibus and Wild Butter. Those kind of one-off albums. Definitely worth checking out. And those three tracks that start off the album are the highlights for me. But overall, this was pretty pleasing to the ear and worth tracking down because it's still it's kind of scarce, but you can still find it for pretty cheap, relatively cheap prices. So I found this one for cheap, that's for sure. So yeah, it's worth looking into. Curfew. This is one that I'm kind of disappointed about. I'll be honest. I found a great deal, what I thought was a great deal on Discogs, but I don't remember if I was kind of just looking at, see if it's for sale for cheap. It's not really a band or an album I'm super obsessed with, but I would like to track them down eventually. And this is probably not the best copy to have. I may replace this for sure because it's not the copy I wanted. And it was listed under this sort of pressing, the first pressing on the W7 label. And this is Grateful Dead's Oxoxoama, however you want to pronounce it. I think there is a proper way to pronounce it, but I forget how it is. So it's the Grateful Dead. And it was listed on Discogs as the W7 pressing, and this is not. This is on the just the Warner Brother label, which I think was reissued it in '71 with a different mix, if I remember correctly. So it's supposed to have a W7 label, and it is not clearly. And the cover was listed VG Plus, and does that look VG Plus to you? Not to me. And it's also got a pen mark up in the corner, or the middle here. So it's kind of disappointing. It does play fairly well, but not the first pressing I was looking for, and it was like listed for $8, and I thought, yeah, that's a good deal. So a little disappointed, but hopefully replace it down the road. It's not an album I'm crazy about, like I said. If any album, I definitely want their first two. My best friend has a original mono pressing of this, which I borrowed one time. And Anthem of the Sun is like my go-to, I would say. Definitely where they kind of peak as far as like studio experimentation mixed with their live shows. But this third outing is not too bad either. But once they get past this point, I'm not going to be turned into a whole deadhead or follow the culture. I respect them, respect the records gratefully, but just not exactly my cup of tea either. It's kind of one of those records you just return to once in a while for me. So, China Cat Sunflower is probably my favorite track off there. So, with that said, I've got two more great ones here. Got this from the same seller who had Curfew, actually. But this one was actually on my want list, and was really surprised to see this for the lowest price on Discogs so far. This is Spur of the Moments, and this is an Illinois band, Spur, who made the one album. And this is a compilation, actually, and it's only got 3 tracks from their original album, but it's got like the same cover, and it's only missing the S. It's called Spur of the Moment, and it came out in '68. And this is a Drag City reissue that came out in 2010. 10 years already. And this is, if you're looking for, if you were kind of disappointed in their original album, it's kind of pretty heavily country flavored, folk rock. This one gets much more psych and is worth tracking down. Got tracks like, of course, pulled off the LP is Mind Odyssey, but then you also got tracks like right after it, Mr. Creep. It's got some interesting vocal effects on it, and they do a 14-minute cover of Tribal Gathering by the Byrds off this one. It's kind of like a jam band sort of a cover version of it. But my favorite track is Time Is Now, which is also from the '72 sessions off an acetate. That's my highlight off here, and once you listen to that track, that's the kind of stuff you're getting into. Time Is Now, phenomenal track. So Spur, based out of Illinois, they also did a album backing up a preacher, Father Pat Burkery, who had one album. It's kind of an oddball, but worth seeking out. I almost got an original copy of that long ago, but I got overbid on that one. But this is some killer stuff. This is one I've been wanting a long time. So finally tracked it down for cheap. I'll show the label quick, I guess. It's on the green label. I think that's kind of how the original label looked as well. Okay, and then the last one is one I picked up cheap after sort of a reminder from a friend on Instagram, Rose Colored Corner. He posted this album like a week ago or so, and I was like, you know, I always see this cover online. It's kind of one of those albums, you always see that cover, but just never really dived into it too deeply. And I checked it out, and I was like, this is right up my alley. So once again, you guys know I'm, you know, kind of more of a psych pop kind of guy I've turned into, I suppose. I love all of the styles of psychedelia. You know, I love the hard rock, I love the heavy psych. That's basically how I started loving the genre. But it seems like as more time evolves, you know, I love this kind of stuff. This is Fargo. This is their one and only album, I See It Now. And you want to talk about some cheap heat? This is it. You can find copies all day long for under $10. And this is thankfully not the Dynaflex on the RCA. It's a really stone hard copy of it. And this came out in 1969. They had a single before this on Capitol. And let's see, it's basically the sounds within are kind of Baroque pop flavored, very mild, if any, psych flourishes. There are like a couple spots, but it's basically a pop rock kind of record. Very influenced by like the Everly Brothers came to mind. Jamais, if you guys know that album. A little bit of Richard Twice in spots, like a second tier Richard Twice maybe. And this is just one you can find for cheap, and I love it. Side 2 picks up a lot better for me. Talks We Used to Have, Promises of Love, and Cross with No Name are my highlights off here. And there's really no information online about these guys. I tried looking all different sources and just kind of turned up blank, except what it says on the back sleeve here, that these guys formed from Salt Lake City, Utah, and you know, it's basically a duo, but they had some people kind of backing them up as well. You know, some classical sounds mixed within, very orchestrated, but it's also got folk pop elements, vocal harmony, kind of like close harmony style songs with some beat influences as well. So if you spot this for cheap, I mean, you always will, but this is one to investigate, I would say. It's quite pleasing. A little bit reminiscent of 60s Bee Gees as well. So, yeah, just kind of got the reminder to listen to this, and I was like, yeah, this is good. I'm gonna drop some couple bucks on that. So that's all I got today, and it's kind of nice out. I haven't gone out yet, so you know, it's kind of sticking close to home right now, but I really hate to, you know, because I'm kind of more of a outside person, but yeah, we shall see. So let's see, I got at least a couple more, one pending and one definitely shipped in the mail that I'm waiting for. Otherwise, probably going to leave it at that. So I'm really glad once again that you guys kind of enjoyed my last video. It's basically a basic summary of like albums I ranked really high. Even though they were kind of in order, they're just records I play all the time or have just left a big impact on me. And hopefully some of you guys discovered some albums. So with that said, let me know what you think of what I picked up, and that PAX, right? Pretty awesome. Really couldn't imagine never owning that. So until next time, we shall see you soon.